Can you see us, Ayushi, and hear us?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah. So, Ayushi, please introduce yourself to the panel.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sirs. Uh, my name is Ayushi Bansal. I was born and brought up in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. After that, I completed my engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Post that, I worked at McKinsey, where I got the opportunity to work across three diverse industries of banking, mining, and port industry. Post that, I started my preparation for civil services exam, and this is overall my first attempt.
Okay, Ayushi, tell me, why didn't you take the exam straight away? Why did you wait for 2 years? This is your first attempt, which is commendable. You've gone through, made it with different subjects, sociology, nothing to do with this, electrical engineering. But why did you wait for this time, all this time?
So post my graduation, I got the placement at McKinsey and Company. At that point of time, I felt that it was a great career opportunity because very early on in my career, I got a great diversity. As we discussed that, in just 10 months of my tenure, I got to work at three different industries. So at that point, I felt that this was great for my career and I would have a very good learning experience. And so secondly, in consulting, we get direct client interaction. And this is something that I really enjoy, interacting with public. So, sir, at that point, I felt that this was great. But over time, my interest gradually started levitating towards governance and social sector, which I felt which I felt I would get an opportunity in civil services in general and administration in specific. So, sir, that's why I chose to then go for civil services after 2 years.
So, do you think being a secretary in your home state, retiring as a secretary, or being a Indra Nui is better, or being a secretary in your home state is better? You could have been the next Indra Nui.
Thank you, sir, for saying that. Sir, I believe that both the jobs are very different and they aren't comparable. None of them is above the other or below the other. They are people who are doing best in their own sectors. It just depends upon what kind of a person I am and what interest I have. I believe that I have an aptitude and interest and inclination towards governance. And I have got leadership qualities as well. So I feel that I would be best suited as a secretary as compared to in the business sector. Although I still believe both of them are equal.
Okay, granted, taken. Now tell me, you are interested in performing and watching stage plays, Hindi stage plays and street plays. Who was that person, who died, a very famous street play person? Do you remember the name?
Yes, sir. Sir, Mr. Safdar Ashmi died after his performance. He was attacked during his performance. Sir, it was alleged that he was attacked during his performance. He was performing about labor rights and he was attacked by some goons during his performance. And next day he died during his treatment.
Good. Now tell me, have you ever heard of Dastan Goi? It's a form of play.
Sorry, sir, I haven't.
You haven't heard of Dastan Goi. Okay. Now you've been watching Hindi cinema on social issues. Tell me one thing. Now, cinema, there is cinema which is shown on, in movie halls and all. And then there are these OTT platforms which are showing all kinds of content without any censorship. So what do you think? Isn't it unjust to, to the cinema filmmakers that their content is being censored very heavily, like this Pathan film controversy recently? And the OTT platforms are, free to do whatever they want without any censorship. What do you think? Should we ban censorship altogether, or should we, start censoring the OTT platforms also?
Sir, I don't think we should ban censorship. Given in our country, we have a very high population of impressionable minds, especially the young generation. So censorship is a necessity. So secondly, on the OTT platforms, we recently had IT rules in 2021, which posed some restriction on OTT platforms. For example, they have to mandatorily talk about age guidelines. They have to talk about if there is any violence or nudity in the film, they have to release these kind of guidelines. Although, sir, I feel that going forward on OTT, we need to regulate it better. For example, I have seen platforms not very properly showing these guidelines to people. It is somewhere hidden. So what we can do is make them more explicit, so that it's easier for people to notice. And sir, these kind of regulations should come more for OTT, I believe, uh, for our young impressionable minds, to protect them from
What is the
untoward.
you spoke about the IT rules just now. What is the crux of the IT rules? There is in one line. Tell me the crux of the IT rules. A very important thing has been done in these IT rules as far as the OTT platforms and social media platforms are concerned.
Sir, IT rules talk about the rights of the consumers and posing the
No.
response. Sorry, sir.
One
Then
line.
this is
You're very articulate, but one line. Tell me in one line this thing. Do you remember? The OTT platforms and the social media platforms have been made liable for the content. If there's a complaint about any kind of content, if there's a criminal thing being posted on their website, and they don't remove it within 72 hours, they become liable. Earlier on, they were not liable. That is the difference in between the new IT rules and all. But
yes.
you are saying that we should keep censorship. But you see, now any child can Google anything on his mobile phone. Child means anybody around 15, 16 years or even 12, 13 years of age. Everybody's got phones these days. So you can simply Google anything you want, any porn content, whatever you want to see. And how do you ban that? So what is the point of censorship in a movie hall when you can see whatever you want just by Googling it? There's no control on that. So what is the point of this censorship?
Sir, I believe that firstly, the point of censorship is that the films have a much wider reach as compared to internet. Films are a reflection of the society, and they also talk about our future. So the kind of content they show has much deeper and much profound impact, as we see in general about creative arts. So censorship becomes a necessity for them. So secondly, about where it is very easier for people to access things on internet. As far as I am aware, there are certain guidelines, certain regulations about that. And sir,
who cares about a child will not care about the guideline. You can write that this content is not meant for people below 18 years of age, but they won't care. See, if you can just start Googling and watching it, who's going to stop you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand that for young minds, curiosity is a very major factor. Sir, I feel that for those people, we need to go beyond censorship. For young minds, for young children, we need to educate them. We need to make them aware. For example, if a young child does not get education from her parents or her teachers, she then moves for internet for resolving her queries. So what we need is for people, for parents and teachers to engage with children at the right age, so their queries are resolved, their curiosity is resolved, rather than them going to their friends or the internet. I think that would be
Excellent.
better.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right,
sir.
Ayushi, when is your interview scheduled?
Ma'am, after 21st April.
After 21st. You don't have a date as yet, yeah?
And no.
No, okay, all right, okay. All right, Ayushi, can you tell me something about, you said you worked in the banking, what was the, interface, banking?
Ma'am, we worked for a bank. We helped them in their end-to-end digitization process. The bank was going through digitization and we consulted them on that.
Was it a public sector bank?
No, ma'am, it was a private sector bank.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, well, you must have, read upon the budget, and there were some changes proposed to the banking sector, the banking regulations, okay? Any idea?
Ma'am, I remember reading about it, but I'm very sorry, I'm unable to recall it right now.
Okay, the purpose, if I tell you that the purpose was to facilitate disinvestment, what could it be?
Ma'am, may I make an attempt to answer?
Yeah, that's why I gave you this lead, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it's more to do around disinvesting in public sector banks. Recently, we saw in IDBI Bank, government disinvested.
Very good. Yeah.
Disinvested a part of it. So, ma'am,
Hmm.
going forward, government has released a policy on disinvestment in general, that apart from the strategic sectors, we would want to exit
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
sector. So, ma'am, I think
Yeah.
it's mostly related to that.
Yeah, there's something in banks which doesn't facilitate. It's to do with the investment cap. All right, you can read up on it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am,
All
definitely.
right. Okay. Okay. Which are the acts, statutes which govern the banking sector?
Ma'am, there is Banking Regulation Act, and
Yeah.
ma'am, there is Reserve Bank of India Act. Ma'am,
Yeah.
these two acts are the major acts which govern
Yes.
banks.
One more.
And ma'am,
Yeah.
and ma'am, then there for different types of banks, there are different acts. For example, for cooperative banks,
Well, there is the Banking Companies Act. All right. Banking Companies Act. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Never mind. We move to something else. Have you read up on data for development 2030 agenda of the G20?
I'm sorry, ma'am,
No?
the voice is breaking. Can you please repeat it?
Data for development.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
partly it's self-evident from the terminology. You can expand on that, right?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as we understand that 21st century is the century for data. So India, as taking the presidentship of G20, has proposed that digital solutions, what we have devised, for example, India Stack, UPI, and so on, can be used for the entire world, and especially the emerging and the developing economies, which can make use of this digital solution for their own development.
Okay, okay. You can always read up on data for development 2030. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Well, G20 empower, G20 empower. What's that?
Sorry, ma'am. I
Just make
haven't
a
come.
connect. Last 2-3 days में कौन सा important day went, It's about women empowerment. All right, G20. It's that wing of it. And there is this Nari Shakti Yojana. Have you read up on it? Nari Shakti Yojana.
Sorry,
Just
ma'am.
read
I
up.
haven't.
It's about women entrepreneurs and soft loans. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Just read up, because being a girl, it can be a likely question they can ask you. Okay, let me ask you something about have you heard about this problem, this immigration problem in Britain, and small boats, banning of small boats?
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what is it about?
So, ma'am, recently we also had a boat crashing near Italy's borders. So, ma'am, the problem arises due to illegal immigration from Northern African and in general African countries and Asian countries to Europe, who most people who escape the persecution in their own countries and try to reach via seas to European countries. And during their transition, illegal smugglers and illegal traffickers make use of these vulnerable population, extort them, and in their passage, most of them even die due to very unsafe journeys they cross. And ma'am, European countries are taking different measures for these refugees. For example, there was one plan with I think with Rwanda, Britain managed to design to repatriate them back to their own country.
To rehabilitate them there rather than let them in. Yeah. Even
Yes,
we also had, of course, there's been a lot of criticism of stopping this kind, of Britain for stopping these immigrants, because they say these are persecuted people and why they should get asylum. So there's a section of society, right? We
Yes,
also had, a major problem of certain people immigrate, kind of coming to India. Yeah. Which ones were these? Who were these people?
Ma'am, earlier post-independence, we had the problem of Bangladeshi immigrants in the northeastern region. Because before Bangladesh being separated from Pakistan, they were persecuted in their own country, so they migrated in large numbers to India. And ma'am, there's also about Rohingya population migrating from Myanmar to Bangladesh and then to India. So ma'am, these two are the major immigrant populations distributed across the country.
Okay, and so what has our stand been, the government of India's stand been regarding Rohingyas?
Ma'am, as far as I'm aware, we have taken a very humanitarian approach towards this. And ma'am, we have also discussed this with Bangladesh and Myanmar as well. And ma'am, as far as I'm aware, we are trying to rehabilitate them back to their country or in Bangladesh, I think.
Okay, okay. Okay, Ayushi, wish you all the best. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, Ayushi,
Yes.
you have given forest service. So
Yes, sir.
can you define forest for me?
Sir, I remember there is a very exact definition about the density of trees in a forest, but I'm unable to recall the exact definition right now. Sorry, sir.
Okay, well, the definition, there's definition of forest, Supreme Court says you go up by the dictionary. But for
Yes.
forest cover, it says it should be 1 hectare and more and 10% canopy cover.
Yes, sir.
Now, because the trees can't speak, don't you think we are fooling them by just calling 10% canopy cover as forest cover? Do you think it's fair?
Sir, I believe in administration, we have to arrive at some kind of definition to segregate forest from non-forest so that we are better able to manage them and preserve them. So I think, sir, based on the wisdom of the people of the day, I think this would have been the most best definition that was possible to define
Okay,
forest.
have you heard of Miyawaki forest?
Yes, sir.
What do they do?
So Miyawaki is a Japanese technique in which we, in a very small area, we closely plant a lot of trees. So in a very small area, it is able to sequester
How
carbon in
small?
a large. Sorry, sir, I don't remember the exact
Okay,
area.
you read about it.
Yes.
Okay, what is the Gujarat model of development?
Sir, Gujarat model of development is focused on developing industries, is focused on economic model of development largely, where we develop a lot of industries, we bring in a lot of investment so that we are able to generate a lot of growth and employment in the economy, so that it creates a very positive cycle. It is also focused on infrastructure development, which again creates a multiplier effect in the economy. So we are able to bring in growth and employment at the same time.
Yeah, but it also gives you stability of policy.
Yes, sir.
Right? Policy, environment, and then one very important thing you missed out is law and order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now you passed out from school in 2015. So
Yes,
can
sir.
you tell two structural changes in the Indian ecosystem, the economic ecosystem, which have made a difference in common man's life after 2015?
Sir, one would be the demonetization of 2016, which had a very large impact.
I don't think Ayushi had so much cash that she got worried about demonetization.
Sir, demonetization, I believe, had both very positive and negative impacts at the same time. And sir, it was an event where our
No,
the legal
I'm discounting this event. Tell
Okay,
something which has made a positive impact.
Sir, goods and services tax has made a positive impact in common man's life. A lot of people have come under GST.
GST, okay, very good.
Yes.
Yes, what else?
Sir, I think the second one would be the focus of the government on infrastructure creation. It is a very long-term thing, but sir, it certainly does impact common man because infrastructure is something which is public good and everyone uses it. So, sir, the
Okay.
creation of roads, bridges,
Okay,
buildings.
how does Ayushi make her payments?
Sir, it depends on who am I making the payment to. In my common day-to-day working, I usually use the UPI digital payment a lot.
Yeah, so has it made a difference in people's life?
Yes, sir, definitely. It has made a
Okay,
lot of difference.
now step into the shoes of say a juice vendor and
Okay.
see how his life has changed due to UPI. Can you visualize the difference?
Yes, sir, I can. Sir, I can think of a very small example. For example, if he has to sell a 10 rupees juice, And if he want to increase his rate to 12 rupees, he would be discouraged to do so because people wouldn't have 2 rupees change in their hands. But now he can very easily do that. So
Very
secondly,
good.
the number of customers would have increased. For example, if people want to drink juice, they would think that I do not have 10 rupees, 20 rupees cash in my hand or a change in my hand. But now they can very easily pay via UPI. So the number of customers would have definitely increased.
Yes.
Sir, I think these two are very positive changes that would have impacted him. And sir, apart from that, procuring his raw materials, the fruits and the
Very
machines
good.
that he
Very
would buy,
good.
that
And
also
you have noticed they keep a speaker in their shop.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is the benefit?
Sir, he doesn't have to take time off and take off his hands from preparing his juice, and he can very easily hear that the payment has been made and there is no fraud being committed with him, and he has received the payments. And sir, even in currency notes, what used to happen that people send them torn notes at times. So now they have very good surety that the money is being transacted in their bank account. So there is a good surety with them as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to look after that galla, that cash box.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's no threat to it's being stolen or something like that.
Yes,
Right?
sir. That's a very positive impact. Yes, sir.
Okay, can you name 2 social changes also which have happened in this period? Structural changes.
Sir, one important structural change is the women empowerment. Sir,
Okay.
politically, we have seen that in the Lok Sabha, we have the highest number of women members at 14% right now.
Okay.
And sir,
Okay.
NFHS, sir,
But
NFHS,
have they done reservation for women in parliament?
no, sir, not yet.
Yes, but somewhere else they have done.
Yes, sir, in the local governments for panchayat and urban local bodies.
Yeah, yeah. And what about IIT Kanpur? They have done reservation for women there?
Yes, sir. So there are supernumerary seats for women candidates since
Yes.
2018.
Yeah, that has made a difference.
Sir, it has made a very, very huge difference. Sir, I've personally seen it. I went in 2016 and we were just 49 girl students in a batch of 800 odd students. And then, sir, 2 years later, we gradually increased the number of girls. And sir, when I finally passed out in 2020, I was very happy to see a very large number of girls in our campus in different departments.
Yes, yes. And second change?
So second change would be the recognition of class-based divisions which exist in our society. We have had EWS reservation coming up for the economically backward section.
Yes, very good. And things like triple talaq and all that. Okay.
Yes.
My last question. Can you name 2 qualities of an administrator as a lion and as a fox?
Sir, as a lion, an administrator has to show very good leadership skills. There are many times when you have to lead your pride.
Okay. Second.
Sir, as a fox, I think being able to build
2 qualities as a lion.
Okay, sir. Sir, second one would be fearlessness. Sir, in a number of situations.
Done.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
done. And as a fox?
Sir, as a fox, sir, first one would be one has to build consensus among the group. There are a number of stakeholders, and you have to use your tact to bring all of them on the same table. So this is the one I'm able to think for fox right now.
How do foxes hunt?
So they hunt in groups.
Yeah.
Sir, a team membership would be another quality.
Okay, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Ayushi.
Yes.
First of all, you are a sociology student.
I'm sorry, sir. Your voice is a little lower. I'm unable to.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. It's better. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you are a sociology student.
Yes.
So one very simple question: is live-in an urban phenomena?
No, sir, live-in is not an urban phenomenon. It has been there since time memorial and since ancient times in our culture. Sir, a very crude example would be a kind of, sir, I was about to say Gandharv Viva, but Gandharv Viva is a type of marriage. Uh,
Right.
uh, Sir, but I have, we see Nayars in the Southern society who have a sort of a live-in relationship when they're visiting husbands in the form Sambandham relations. So I
What
think
is
live-in relationships.
what is live-in relationship?
So live-in relationships are when two partners stay together and have a sexual relationship between them without the legal marriage being conducted between them.
Okay, that's it. Let's say if there is no sexual relationship, then that cannot be termed as whether that particular relationship cannot be termed as a live-in relationship.
Sir, sir, if there is no romantic or sexual relationship, then the people would be called as roommates, which we see in modern hostels kind of society. So, sir, I don't think that would be a live-in relationship in the true
Okay.
sense.
And should it be regulated?
Yes, sir, definitely it should be regulated. Sir, even our Honorable Supreme Court had mentioned that the women have the rights which are normally there in the marriage, as far as I'm aware, sir. And sir, we recently saw in a number of cases also that partners are at the receiving end of intimate partner violence in live-in relationships as well. So there should be rights to both the partners to air their grievances in open, and so that kind of regulation can help them both the male and the female.
And you talked about women and maybe women rights. Should women as temple priests, how do you rate this as an idea of women empowerment?
Sir, I think it's a very good and a powerful idea. Sir, temples and religions it's something that influences a lot of people. It has a place in the heart of a lot of people. And if they see that women are functioning as priests in the temple, it would enable them to practically see them as goddesses, which they actually worship in our religion. So I think, sir, it's a very wonderful and a good idea, sir. It should be done.
Okay, and recently Hindu rate of growth is again back in news. What is so Hindu about Hindu rate of growth?
Sorry, sir, I don't know what is exactly Hindu about it. I just know that it was a growth before the 80s related about 3 to 4%, which was stagnant growth. So I will read on this.
Okay. Then this one more question. What you watch a lot of let's say Hindi cinema on social issues. Which one particular movie moved you the most?
Sir, this movie Padman really moved me, sir. One
Batman.
of the reasons, yes, sir.
Which one?
Sir, one of the reasons was that
Which particular movie? Batman. Which particular that movie?
sir,
Is it the last
Padman
one?
by Akshay Kumar.
Padman. Okay. Okay. Padman. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please explain.
Yes, sir. Sir, one of the reasons was that it talked about a issue which is a very taboo topic in our society. I have seen that in people do not talk about menstruation at all, and it's a very major problem. And sir, secondly, the kind of spirit the person showed in that movie, he fought until the end. He even left his family for the principle and for the dream he had. So that really moved.
Okay, great. And recently Indore's pitch was in news, and even ICC gave it a very poor rating. So what was wrong with Indore's pitch?
Sorry, sir, I don't watch cricket a lot, so
Okay.
I will read on this.
Okay, and again, like another very famous news, ChatGPT failed UPSC exam. Is it anything of relevance?
Sir, it is definitely of relevance because, sir, it shows us that there are certain lacunas still existing in the artificial intelligence, and we cannot completely trust it for each and everything. There are problems with the data sets. It has been trained until 2021 data set. So based on the data set, how it is trained, it gives us the result. And so there are other certain ethical and other challenges as well with ChatGPT, which comes to the forefront because of these kind of news that it failed one exam. So we know that the artificial intelligence ecosystem is not perfect yet, and there remains a lot to be done.
Right. Okay, one last question. Are electric rockets possible?
So for powering a rocket, we require a lot of energy, and at the same time, we have to reduce the weight of the rocket as well. The problem with any kind of electric mobility is that the size of the battery becomes very large if we want to use it to power something. So, sir, I will have to read more on this if there have been any latest advances on this, if we have been able to bring about a lot of energy density to reduce this size of battery to be
What
able
about
to compare.
propulsion? How will you create propulsion using electric, maybe motors? Can you create propulsion in vacuum?
No, sir, we require oxygen for the fuel to burn.
So looks like as long as Newton's third law exists, electric rockets would be a pipe dream.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Ayushi, your formal interview is how do you assess yourself?
Sir, I have to read a lot more on a lot of subtopics. So, sir, I think that is one thing which I will do after the interview.
Okay.
So that
Then
is
when is
one.
your interview scheduled after April 21st?
Yes, sir.
You got plenty of time. You are excellent, I would say. I mean, you've done this is your first attempt and you've gone through. And you are extremely articulate. You can think on your feet and you can, we have asked you, all of us, in fact, have asked you questions, out of the box questions, and you've answered very well. I mean,
Thank you.
nothing which you could have prepared for, and you've given excellent answers. The only, and you will do well. You'll be one of the highest, mark holders and mark getters, whatever you say in the interview. And you can get an even better edge if you, study your current affairs a little bit more. I think
Yes,
like when questions were asked about G20 on Empower,
yes, sir.
G20 agenda and government schemes, Nari Shakti and all that.
Yes, sir.
So there you simply came out and said, I'm not aware.
Yes, sir.
So all these things are in the current affairs section. G20 is a current hot topic.
Yes,
And
sir.
all the government schemes, in fact, you should read up on, especially
Yes, sir.
schemes, dealing with empowerment of women. And so all kinds of things you can think of. If you read them, you got plenty of time. Then you
Yes,
will
sir.
have a very good edge, above all the others. Even without knowing these, you were still one of the best.
Yes.
Despite the fact that you couldn't answer these, I would still rate you as one of the highest best in the interview. But if you add these things to your portfolio,
Yes.
it will be fantastic. You can be number one. You can be the topper or the first 10 easily.
Yes.
If you've got good marks in your written exam. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
all the best to you. Just read up all these things and you'll do well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, definitely. Yes.
Ayushi, you're extremely communicative, and there's a lot of conviction in your voice. Your modulation is very good. It comes off very well, right? So never mind if there are little knowledge gaps here and there. You can always, fill them up. Because a bright, intelligent person, you come out as a bright, intelligent person, and these gaps can always be filled up. I mean, I would, I'm very, very hopeful that you'll do very well. All right. Just read up on, the kind of questions we asked, and especially these women-centric ones. Sometimes you're there, they can ask you. Of course, I didn't ask you about the sexual harassment, the posh and all that, because I thought you'd know about it, right? But then you never know. There might be a lady member, there might be a man also who can ask you these questions, right? The internal complaint committee and all of that. If people will ask you why you left a job at McKinsey's, it's a dream job. People leave the government and join McKinsey, and you're leaving McKinsey and coming to government, right? So think about that. I think you'll give a nice. The answer you gave, to the chairman of the board was also excellent. It showed conviction in what you believe in, and that's how it should be. And again, remember, there are no right or wrong answers, right? So anything you believe in, it's good to stick by it. Don't argue in the board at all. Okay, avoid that path. and I'm sure you won't, just cover the knowledge gaps. Your DAF, everything on your DAF, I think you're well prepared on your DAF. You knew about Safdar Hashmi and all of that, and the film also, the OTT platform bit also. The other budget, because I think it will be getting passed now, so it'll remain in news, in focus. So
Yes, ma'am.
banking, the moment you say banking, then they'll come around to disinvestment banking, IDBI bank. You knew a lot about it. And I was happy to know you knew about the small boats thing. It's nothing which was impacting our country as such. But then, international affairs, one needs to know the Russia-Ukraine war. They can ask you about who benefited from it. And for example, not just certain countries, but even certain sectors like defense industry and oil industry has benefited from it. So good to know about all of that, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm sure you'll do well, and I hope, that you score really high. We want to see your name out there, all right? So
Thank you,
just
ma'am.
fill up these gaps, it'll give you an edge, all right? All the best to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ayushi,
Yes, sir.
you're very good. Your IITK record is very, very good. It's
Thank you, sir.
excellent. Yeah. Yeah, I'm myself an IIT Kanpur, so I can understand where you're coming from. It's very good. Now, 2-3 things. One is GIRID. Is it GERD or GIRID?
Sir, Gird.
GIRD. What is it? So read about it. Okay. What
Okay,
does
sir.
GIRD mean? Second, you have talked of social issues and street plays. So
Okay,
make
sir.
a list of all the social issues, and there may be one of the members on the board may have strong opinions about certain social issues. So you should make a list of all these things which are there, right? Like you've been talked about this marriage thing, which was live-in relationship was one,
Yes,
or transgender, all these things. So list all the social issues, right? Notice the plus and minus, and when you reply, just think and reply, and give the more important things first.
Yes,
Because
sir.
the attention span, the time you get is very small. So start
Yes.
with the more important things first, okay? Then it comes
Yes.
to the less important. So that kind of prioritization you make in your mind. And you should do very well. You're an excellent candidate, okay? So try talking to the mirror, or make a small group and let them ask you the question and you reply. And you can look at Sansad TV and beyond, and so that will definitely help you. Okay?
Sorry, sir. Rion.
Beyond.
World is one.
Acha, Rion.
Yeah, beyond and Better India. There's something called betterindia.com. So the Better India, it's a website, but it gives very good ideas,
Okay, sir.
right? So you can look at some of those. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Because when you say why you left McKinsey and you're coming, so the Better India will give you a lot of answers which you can use. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Ayushi, again 3-4 चीजें फोकस करनी होती हैं जो डाक में डिस्टिंक्टली नजर आती हैं. एक तो जो आईआईटी और मैकेंसी, तो ऐसा है कि पक्का बहुत सवाल पूछे जाएंगे, तो आईआईटी एंड मैकेंसी पर फोकस करना है. एंड बाकी जैसे सोशियोलॉजी के अगर जो एक्सपर्ट्स बैठे होते हैं तो दे वांट टू आस्क सोशल इश्यूज एंड जो भी रेलिवेंट. आपने जैसे यहाँ लिखा हुआ है ऑल फीमेल स्ट्रीट प्ले टीम, तो उसका रेलिवेंस क्या है? मतलब कुड बी आस्क, मतलब आई वांटेड टू आस्क बट लेकिन थोड़ा क्वेश्चन ज्यादा हो रहे थे, तो कि अगर ऑल मेन या ऑल जो विमेन, अगर मूवी हो कोई देखना चाहेगा तो दैट डिपेंड्स नो कि उसका रेलिवेंस सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है. बाकी ग्वालियर बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है आपके उसमें. ग्वालियर में बहुत सवाल पूछे जा सकते हैं, अगर कोई वहां नहीं भी रहा अगर तब भी ग्वालियर के बारे में लोगों को बहुत कुछ पता होता है, तो इसीलिए वो तो आपको करना पड़ेगा अच्छे से प्रिपेयर. और बाकी अभी वहां पर एक अभी प्रवासी भारतीय हुआ था, और तो अगेन इम्पोर्टेंट. लेकिन अभी चलो इंदौर, राइट, इंदौर में क्रिकेट टेस्ट मैच हुआ, 2 दिन में खत्म हो गया, 2.5 दिन में, तो इंटरनेशनल न्यूज बन गई तो ओके, तो जैसे अगर कोई क्रिकेट थोड़ा सा सभी फॉलो करते हैं तो पता होगा सभी को ना क्रिकेट के बारे में, तो इसलिए वो थोड़ा उसमें है मेमोरी में। ओके, तो यही था सोशियोलॉजी, ग्वालियर, आईआईटी, मैकेंसी, ये 4 चीजें फोकस करते हैं। और यू शुड बी गुड, यू वेरी वेरी आर्टिकुलेट और क्रिस्प शब्द बाहर निकलते हैं मुंह से, बहुत ही अच्छा एक जो एडवांटेज है, दैट इज अ बिग बिग एडवांटेज दैट यू हैव।
थैंक यू।
और जैसे वो सर का क्वेश्चन था वो फॉक्स एंड लाइंस वाला, वो बहुत बहुत ही बढ़िया आंसर था वो,
Yes,
सोशियोलॉजिकली स्पीकिंग, तो दैट वाज लाइक वेरी एक्यूरेट।
very nice.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask one question?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I think to read up about Marathas also, na?
Marathas.
Gwalior की वजह से, हाँ?
Yeah.
And why the Marathas declined, how they declined, right? फिर जब मराठास पे आएगा तो सभी कुछ मराठास का पूछ लेंगे, एंड तानसेन आल्सो वाज फ्रॉम ग्वालियर ओनली ना,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
वो
ma'am.
भी थोड़ा पूछ सकते हैं, हाँ, उस तरह के
Okay.
सब।
आप पूछो, क्या पूछना चाह रहे हो?
हाँ, आप पूछो।
Sir, when you asked me to introduce myself, sir, one thing about me is that in my college I fought 5 elections and I won 4 of them. And sir, I was also, as far as my memory goes, the first female to contest for the president's election in the campus. Though I lost that election by a very small margin, but I contested. So, sir, is this something I should mention about myself?
Yeah, you can. I don't know what possible
Yes.
question they will ask.
That type सोचने की
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. She is very articulate and she can cover everything. You should then also think about possible questions which could be asked on that election aspect. You can mention it definitely. It will, enhance your portfolio, your DAF. But then you should be prepared to answer all kinds of questions on elections. Not only elections to the student bodies. जैसे कि student bodies में election होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए. Should we allow them to have election violence in universities? JNU की violence पे चले जाएंगे फिर, जो JNU में इतना झगड़ा हो रहा है last 2 years
इलेक्शन
से.
कमीशन,
इलेक्शन
पैनल बन गया, पैनल.
हाँ, इलेक्शन कमीशन में के ऊपर चले जाएंगे. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पैनल बना दिया. It's a very wide subject. You are opening up a new front. So
as it is your DAF,
the word
really
election,
good.
the word election.
So I don't know whether
Yeah, but let me know. The word election will lead to a lot of widespread.
It's
Questions. So I would say you avoid that.
sticky area है, sticky area.
Unless you are comfortable about answering elections on a very wide range of questions.
I know where you are coming from. IIT Kanpur president election is a huge affair,
Yeah.
but avoid it.
I agree with you. It's a sticky area,
इसलिए सोच के आप देख लो.
ठीक है.
Sir, one question was asked to me that tell us something which is not in your DAF. So, sir, I was thinking maybe answering about elections in that area. That's why I asked this.
Then it's okay to talk, but then you be prepared to answer about election commission, उसके function, student election होने चाहिए कि नहीं होने चाहिए. Supreme Court ने election पे क्या एक नया पैनल बना दिया है. ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं.
तो ऐसे घुमा दो कि मैं 4 times I was elected as students representative and I understood what are the pains of the students and what you could do for the students. उस साइड में ले जाओ.
That shows popular. That shows that you are a popular person.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Students के issues क्या है? You get a deep insight into that. That's right. Rather than the election per se. Winning election should not be the prime thing there.
मतलब frankly, I tell you, I was my association president. So it was sometimes, made out that sometimes a lot of people may not take it. They'll think ki this person is into politics.
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, ma'am. That was my main concern. Ki this should not be.
Yeah. So, you have so much else to showcase and you've done so well otherwise. I think you should sail through, right?
Okay.
So sometimes less is more और वाली बात आ जाती है इसमें.
Talk more about social issues.
Social,
yeah.
Yes,
Only did on some social issues. You can talk about
so
that.
good. Otherwise,
Okay.
really, you're one of the top candidates.
Yeah.
You're way better than a lot of other
I
people.
think we will see your name on the list definitely. If your ability to write is as good as your ability to speak, then you will be on the
बस complacent नहीं हो जाना.
complacent नहीं होना.
Momentum lose नहीं करना, complacent नहीं.
और जिस दिन इंटरव्यू होगा उस दिन मॉर्निंग के न्यूज़पेपर जरूर पढ़ के जाना, बिकॉज मोस्टली लोग पैनल के मेंबर्स न्यूज़पेपर लेके पढ़ के आते हैं और साथ में भी लेके आते हैं, उसमें से क्वेश्चन
अच्छा।
आने के चांसेस काफी हैं। अगर
Yes,
न्यूज़पेपर में तुम्हारे
Sir.
डैप से रिलेटेड कोई चीज है तो वो तो 100% पूछ लेंगे।
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ठीक है,
You'll
All
do
the-
great. Okay, believe in yourself.
All
God
the
bless
best.
you. Really, God bless you.
Okay, Ayushi,
Thank you,
thank
ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you.